Hello, students. I welcome you all. Presently, we are dealing with Girish Karnad's historical play Tughlaq. So far, we completed 8 scenes from this play, and of course, in this class, I would like to proceed further. Scene 9 opens there in the vicinity. As the curtain rises, we find couple of characters, that is Aziz and Azam. Both are stretched out on the floor in the hideout in the hills. Azam talks of being bored of the life of thieving and looting, and he is also tired now by the acts of killing. Here, he expresses his desire to live happily at home and live a peaceful life by farming in his fields. But Aziz tells him that there is hardly any person in the world who is really happy. Aziz thinks that a man must commit a crime. Probably this is the philosophy of Aziz, and right from the beginning we have seen him, the kind of deception, the murders, exploitation, looting, taking bribe, and we have seen Aziz involved in these activities. So he thinks that a man must commit a crime at least once in a lifetime, because he strongly believes that if at all you want to recognize your virtues, you have to commit some crime, then only you can compare between the vice and virtues. He says a person should rob and exploit others as much as possible, and the real power actually lies in robbing others and pushing others into some sort of difficulty in life. According to his philosophy, we could say that, or we can say that, that is being a real king in terms of Aziz. Whether you have your own kingdom or not, that is secondary. But you could definitely create your own real, and you can execute your power and authority however you really want. So this way, a dialogue is going on between Aziz and Azam. Already I told you that the scene opens in one of the hills in the vicinity of the fort. Actually, that is a hideout of Aziz and Azam, and they keep manipulating the things from that particular hideout only. Actually, Aziz and Azam are waiting for their attendant Kareem to come back. Kareem has already been assigned a job And very shortly, Karim is expected to come to the hideout, and now you see what actually happens over there. They are waiting for the return of their attendant Karim, and in a very short period of time, Karim comes over there with a man bound and gagged. The moment we look at the person who is bound and gagged, we could not even anticipate that who is that particular person. But when we are revealed with the fact that the man bound and gagged is no one but Ghiyasuddin Abbasid, the descendant of Khalif Abbasid, the last of the Caliphs. Azam unties the man first. Aziz stares at him, and an expression of horror spreads on the face of the person. Because the way Ghiyasuddin Abbasid has been treated by Karim, the attendant, and the kind of looks that Aziz is having, that is really horrifying the man. Ghiyasuddin Abbasid has been invited by Muhammad bin Tughlaq in order to purify his region, in order to perform some religious rites in the kingdom. But here, instead of reaching out to the court of the Sultan, Aziz, Azam and Karim, these three people managed the situation in such a way and brought this Ghiyasuddin Abbasid to their hideout. Actually, Ghiyasuddin Abbasid is the guest of honor of the Sultan. He is all alone, and the Sultan has never seen Ghiyasuddin Abbasid. Ghiyasuddin Abbasid threatens Aziz, Azam and Karim that if at all they don't release him at the earliest, he will lodge a complaint about them with the Sultan, and they will have to face the consequences. But as I told you, Aziz is a very shrewd person. First of all, he threatens Ghiyasuddin Abbasid that first you should reach out to the Sultan to lodge a complaint against us. And he also threatens him that I am going to approach Sultan in disguise of Ghiyasuddin Abbasid. So you will remain over here only, otherwise I will kill you first and then I will go to Sultan in disguise of Ghiyasuddin Abbasid. Because the Sultan has never seen Ghiyasuddin Abbasid. Once I put on the attire that you are wearing, once I carry some other symbols and signs that will prove that I am the Caliph or the descendant of Caliph, Sultan will definitely agree with it. He will have no problem at all. Irrespective of the threat shown by Ghiyasuddin Abbasid, Aziz, Azam and Karim did not listen to him. See here now the diplomacy of Aziz. Aziz and Azam prostrate themselves before him and he starts taking the airs. Azam spreads a mat on which Ghiyasuddin Abbasid sits imperially, Azam offers him fruits to eat, and Aziz tells him that the Sultan is in a suspicious mood. He has already flogged many people who claim to be the descendants of the Prophet. As this Ghiyasuddin shows him the Sultan's letter and the ring that the Sultan sent him as a mark of recognition, there is a different feeling in the mind of Aziz. Aziz realized that whatever he was really thinking of to do, that is going to be materialized. In fact, Aziz did not know that any sign of recognition is already sent by the Sultan to Ghiyasuddin Abbasid. But this man himself is telling Aziz that there is an authorized letter and a sign, that is in the form of a ring, sent by Sultan Muhammad in order to recognize the right person. See the situation here now. Aziz laughs at him and jumps up right in front and says, Azam and Karim, this man, that is Ghiyasuddin Abbasid, has fallen into my trap. He has no paisa on him, and he is yet boasting of his good fortune. See now, Aziz tells Azam, I quote the text, he fell into my trap like a mouse. This is the goods. Azam, this is it. I had heard he was here without a paisa on him, but boasting of his good fortune. Now the entire picture is very clear to Ghiyasuddin Abbasid that what is going to happen with him and what actually Aziz has planned for the future. Azam is frightened and requests Aziz not to kill the man, because Aziz knew that as long as the real Ghiyasuddin Abbasid is alive, he could not present himself as the descendant of the Khalifa. So the man should be killed first. But Azam is frightened of doing it, and he humbly requests Aziz not to kill Ghiyasuddin Abbasid. Actually, Aziz wants to go to the Sultan in place of the man. He knows that the Sultan has picked him for some game of his own, and Ghiyasuddin falls at Aziz's feet as soon as Aziz describes his plan to Azam and Karim. Ghiyasuddin Abbasid falls at the feet of Aziz, but Aziz is no way in a mood to listen to him and orders Azam to kill him at the earliest. He puts on the clothes of Ghiyasuddin Abbasid himself, and now Aziz started imagining that the palace doors are opening for him and there is a grand welcome organized by the Sultan in order to hail Ghiyasuddin Abbasid, the holy man. He sings and dances in a circle, clapping his hands, and this scene comes to an end with Aziz dressed in the robes of Ghiyasuddin Abbasid and ready to go to the Sultan with Azam as his follower. See now, right from the beginning, we have seen these two characters, Aziz and Azam. Aziz, right from the beginning, proved to be a very shrewd person, an opportunist. Whenever he finds an opportunity, he strongly feels that he should grab it at any cost. And in all the incidents that we have studied in the course of the play up till now, Aziz proved to be so. He is a man of deception. He is very treacherous. And he is ready to do whatever possible in order to take the advantage of the situations. As soon as he came to know that Ghiyasuddin Abbasid is going to visit the palace, that is the fort, and the Sultan has never seen Ghiyasuddin Abbasid, immediately he chalked out his plan and decided that he will get rid of the real Abbasid, he will disguise as Abbasid, he will put on the clothes of the holy man and present himself to the Sultan as the Ghiyasuddin Abbasid. So this is the development in this particular scene, scene number 9. And in the subsequent scenes, we will see that how this play is going to develop further. Thank you very much for listening to this description of the scene and the critical analysis as well.